Okay everyone, what's going on? Voodoo 51292, and welcome to my official game review for the game Brink by Splash Damage. And if you want to know right off the bat kind of how this review is gonna go, this is the game right here. It's packaged back in the GameFly envelope. It is ready to go back to GameFly. The next time I leave the house, I'm dropping this back in the mail, and it's going directly back to GameFly. I played this game for 2 days, and I have quit the game. It is short and sweet. The game is horrendous. It's pretty much everything about the game is bad, yeah, I mean, where do I even start with this game? This game, if you don't know, is supposed to be team and objective-based FPS basically, where you have a team of like 8 people, you're fighting the computer, and you have to do these certain objectives. So let me lay down a situation for you of why I've actually quit this game and will never be touching it again. The first day I played, and I played through the first mission of the security campaign. It was a little bit tough because I didn't know what I was doing, but I got through it and it was okay, and that was fine. So we moved on to the second mission. Now there were 3 objectives in the second mission. You had to hack a terminal and then guard it while it was hacking, crack open a safe, and then take a data key out of the safe and bring it and upload it to another computer. Well, first time I played it, we got the first 2 objectives fine, but when it came to the data key, it was impossible. Basically, what kept happening was I would pick up the data key, and whether or not my team was with me or not, I would go up, get to the area where the computer was I had to upload it. There were a bunch of enemies stationed around the computer that I was supposed to upload it to, and they would start firing on us, and we would all die because, first and foremost, the most aggravating thing about this game is you take 1 bullet and you're dead. 1 or 2 bullets maybe, you are instantly dead, and 75% of the time you have absolutely no idea who shot you. You're walking around, and all of a sudden you drop to the floor dead with no explanation, no reasoning at all. So what kept happening was I would get the key, run to that area, there would be enemies camping out there, and they would keep spawning enemies. We would all get wiped out, and here's the most annoying part. They would come up to the data key when you drop it, touch it for 3 seconds, and it would return itself to the other end of the map. You had to go get it again and bring it back to the thing. So I just kept doing that. It was a 10-minute time limit. I just kept doing the same thing and nothing ever changed. Go get the data key, bring it to the thing, we all die, the data key gets returned. I kept doing it. It was so stupid. I tried that twice, both times playing with the AI teammates. The same thing kept happening. It was really stupid, and I said, forget this, I'm done for tonight, and I quit. Well, the next day, which was yesterday, was release day of LA Noire, so I played a bunch of LA Noire that day, and then I said, you know, I'm going to go back and give Brink another shot. Let me do some things. So I got back on. The first thing I did was went back and customized my character a little bit. Gave him some new abilities. Got a different gun because the gun I had the first game sucked. Went back online, or not online, but I went back into the thing with the AI teammates. First 2 objectives were fine. The data key one was impossible to do and couldn't do it. And I forget, I may have tried it even one more time with the computer, but I eventually said, listen, this is stupid. I'm not going anywhere. This gameplay is horrible. So let me hop online to Xbox Live and play with some real humans and see if we can actually get it done. Because the AI is terrible and don't actually do anything at all regarding your actual objective. So I'll hop on Xbox Live. The first match I tried to play was so horrendously bad and laggy I couldn't even walk, and I'm not kidding. I couldn't even move my character. I took a step and the game would teleport me all over the map. I was over here, they would just keep teleport me, spinning me in circles. I couldn't even move, I had no idea where I was. So I just cracked up laughing, exited that, joined another match. The connection was fine actually, we didn't have any lag problems, it didn't look like, everything was fine. Me and my human teammates completed the first 2 objectives, we got to the data key one, and the same thing kept happening. We would get the key, and of course we're humans, so we actually did stick together and to try to guard one another. We'd get to the terminal, There's a bunch of enemies over there, and in 2 seconds they had wiped us all out and returned the data key. And the same thing kept happening, and the gameplay got so bad to a point, and I'm not even kidding, this happened multiple times. All of this is on video and uploaded, by the way, for you to watch. It got to the point where I would spawn, run down a corridor into a room, start fighting some enemies ahead of me, and out of nowhere, an enemy spawned behind me with a shotgun, shot me in the back, and I died. And I'm not kidding, that happened 5 or 6 times over the course of the night. And it was ridiculous. I know they spawned right behind me because, like I said, I spawned, there was a corridor here which I would run down, then there was a room I would fight, and somehow there was an enemy behind me with a shotgun, and he shoots me and I die. As I'm trying to fight the people in front of me, an AI spawns behind me with a shotgun, shoots me, and I die instantly. And I said, you know what, I quit. I'm done with this game. It's horrendous. The game, everything about this game is terrible. The gameplay, in general, is just god-awful. The controls are awful. You can't aim at anything because the controls and all are just so sensitive. They're flying all over. Even when you lower the sensitivity, you still can't aim well at all. You know, you start off with the iron sights and you can't do anything with them. They're awful. You can't aim properly. You can't hit any enemies. And when you do hit the enemies, they're like Iron Man. It takes 25 freaking shots to the face to kill one of these enemies. But if they look at you the wrong way, you instantly drop dead. The gameplay is horrendous. The AI, your partners, if you try to play with the AI, the game is virtually unplayable. The AI is horrendously bad. They don't stick together. They keep doing all these other things that have nothing to do with what you're trying to do. What annoyed me the most was they kept capturing these things called command posts. And basically what the command posts are, the only purpose these command posts serve is to, you can go to them and change your class or change your weapon. That's it. That's the only purpose these command posts serve. And my favorite part was the data key part. Your spawn point was directly in front of one of these things, so you could just go use it or capture it whenever you need. But these people, the AI actually took the time to go out to different command posts in the level and capture them, which it made absolutely no difference on the game, and they weren't doing anything at all to try to do the objective. Their main concern was these command posts, which are useless and don't actually do anything except change your class. And the classes are a joke anyway. You have 4 different classes, and the only differing thing about the classes is you can do different things. Like, to crack open the safe, you needed to be an engineer, okay? Or to hack the computer, you needed to be a tactician. And they also have, each thing has different secondary things, which really aren't that different. I believe the soldier has like a Molotov cocktail, the engineer has like a mine or something like that, and that's it. That's the different classes. They're not really different classes. You can't do anything freely, that's different from one another. Like, you can't run and build like a random turret wherever you want to build it if you're an engineer, or repair equipment and things like that. Literally, the only thing about the classes is you can perform different objectives with your different class, and which shouldn't be a problem because there's 8 people on the team, and if the AI was intelligent, you could be whatever class you wanted to be. And if you weren't the right class to do something, you just let that other person do it while you guard them or something like that. And then if there's an objective that comes up that you can do with your class, you can go do it. So changing classes, I don't even know why that's necessary or should be necessary with the game. So that's horrible. And plain and simple, they try to do way too much with this game. There's way too much going on the screen at one time. I mean, there's all these secondary objectives, like I said, have nothing to do with the main objective and don't actually help you. You have so many indicators and things you have to look at. You have to press 800 different buttons. You have to look at 800 gauges and meters and all this other stuff. And it doesn't actually really do a good job of explaining any of this stuff either. There's way too much going on the screen. Then you have the whole issue of complete character customization and gun customization thing, which is actually pretty neat. But when you couple that with the awful gameplay and the complicated everything going on the screen at one time, I have no problems with games being complicated and having, not complicated, but, having a lot of different parts. But a game like Fallout, for instance, but that's a game that actually does it well. It manages everything, everything makes sense, everything is well organized. There's really not hardly any meters you have to keep track of on your screen with Fallout. It's just your health meter, and if you have like poisoning or something, it'll pop up above your meter, and that's about it. But with this game, there's 800 things going on the screen at one time. You have no idea what's going on. Like I said, 80% of the time you're just running around, and you'll die instantly for no reason. And when medics try to get to you to revive you, they die, so you can't really get revived most of the time. You have to wait like 15 seconds, then respawn on the other side of the map, the beginning of the map, and it's just, the game is horrible. No one play tested this game. Seriously, nobody sat down and play tested this game, because if anybody play tested this game for more than 10 minutes, there's no way in the world anybody would approve this game for release as it is. They had an interesting concept. I liked the concept. That's why I wanted to check the game out. I thought it looked like a cool concept. It was different than everything else, which the concept was cool, but the execution was non-existent. It wasn't just poor, it was non-existent. And I'm serious, this game feels like it was released a year or 2 years early. Seriously, that's how bad the game is. It seems like it should have been in development for another year or 2 years. There's really, from what I saw, really no story to it for the most part. You just have a backstory just to have a backstory, even though the arc and everything like that is actually a cool setup and they could have done a whole lot with it. They just chose not to. And the game is nothing but a giant ball of frustration, and it's no fun. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sit here and waste my time playing a game this week that's just frustrating and I can't even progress in, and is massively difficult on normal difficulty. When I have other games like LA Noire I can play, Mortal Kombat, really good games, I'm not going to waste my time playing this awful game. So, this is usually not me. You know, I sat there, I hated Crysis 2, but I sat there for like 9 or 10 hours and pushed my way through that game. So I'm usually not the person who's going to quit on a game midway, but when it's a game this bad, that is just nothing but an utter waste of my time, and it's taking away time, you know, it's taking valuable time away from me playing other games that are actually really good and fun, then there's no decision for me. I'm not playing the game anymore. And if you're going to hate on me or anything else, all you need to do is go over to GameFly, to the Brink game for Xbox 360, and just read the user reviews. And you know, I am not in the minority like I was for Crysis 2 with this one. I'm in the majority. People hate that game. I've seen so many comments with Brink saying that that people played this game for 30 minutes and immediately put it back in the mail. Because it's no fun. No one wants to sit there and play this horrendously frustrating game. And here's my favorite part. I know I'm kind of jumping all around here, but there's just so much to say. I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to organize this information. But the point of this game was to actually make it, like I said, a team-based tactical game where you have to work together as a team. The opposite, the polar opposite of, let's say, a Call of Duty, where or really any generic FPS for that matter, not just Call of Duty, but where, you know, you're a one-man wrecking crew and you have to do everything yourself. This game was supposed to be the polar opposite of that, which I liked the idea. Didn't want to play another generic first-person shooter and liked the idea, but the computer AI, your teammates in the game, are so bad that the game actually becomes the one thing it tried not to be, and that was exactly that, a generic FPS where you have to do everything yourself. You have to change, the command posts are actually useful to you as a character by yourself because you continuously have to change classes to actually perform the tasks that you need to perform, because the AI will not do it. The AI is horrendously programmed in this game, enemy and teammate alike. The AI combat is a joke. You continuously see enemies and teammates running into one another, not fighting each other. They walk into a room and they'll just start running into one another and you know, doing all these awkward movements like this and not shooting a guy 2 feet in front of them. And the game's horrendous. It's awful. It's no fun. Horrible AI. The game becomes the one thing it didn't want to become because of the horrible AI. You have no choice but to be a one-man wrecking crew, because if not, you can't rely on your AI teammates because they're too busy taking command posts to actually do the objective. The online is, I've read a bunch of reviews that have complained about lag with this game online. I only played 2 matches and I was done, but one of those 2 matches was so horrendously laggy I couldn't even move. And I've seen reports of a bunch of people saying that they've had the same kind of problems with the game. And basically, overall, the game's not good. It's horrendous. Everything about the game is horrendous. So, I'm going to put this in right now. Please, if you want to see for yourself, because as everyone says, pictures are worth 1,000 words. It's the truth. I think they're worth way more than that. I think they're worth 1 billion words. Because I can stand here and talk to you for 3 hours straight, and you're not going to understand fully until you watch my footage. Please go and watch my gameplay footage. There's only 10 videos, because that's the only amount of time I played before I quit. 10 videos. Go check them out, and you'll see, especially in the last 5 or 6, which is when I'm on the level 2. Go watch the footage. It'll explain everything. If you think I'm over-exaggerating, if you think that I am just blowing this out of proportion and everything else, I'm not. I'm not trying to blow this out of proportion to make it more interesting. I'm being completely honest with everything I'm telling you. Go watch my footage and you'll know what I'm talking about. Don't comment all over this video and bash me and do all sorts of stuff like you did for Crisis 2 without watching the footage. Just go watch. It doesn't take a whole lot of your time. If you want to skip to the really good stuff, like I said, skip to video 5 or so and watch from 5 to the end. It'll only take about 1 hour and 15 minutes of your time, and you will see after the hour and 15 minutes you probably won't even want to watch anymore because it's that bad. So go watch my footage. It's under the Brink Security Campaign playthrough playlist. Go watch it, and you will know exactly what I'm talking about. The game is horrendous, and I had to quit right in the middle. So, after all of that, bottom line, a rating for this game. Well, how do you rate a game that you couldn't even beat the 2nd level? Honestly, I want to rate the game a 0. I honestly want to rate the game 0 because it's a year. Bottom line is this game was released a year or 2 early. That's how bad the game is. That's what you can notice. It was never play tested, and the game's not finished. So I have a good mind to give the game a 0, but I'm going to give the game a 1.5. And the only reason I'm going to do that is because I like the fact that they at least somebody at Splash Damage, probably 1 or 2 guys, actually were smart with this game and actually came up with the idea behind the game. I like the idea behind the game. The smart movement thing is alright. It's not like revolutionary. It's pretty cool, but it's nothing, definitely nothing even minutely close to saving the game. But the idea behind the game was great. Maybe if they had actually developed the game for another year or 2 and released it in a couple of years, then the game probably would have been really good and actually would have kind of changed the way people look at FPS games. But I swear to God, after playing this game, all I want to do is put a generic FPS back in my console and play it and be like, oh, and just, breathe a sigh of relief that I can, to play a game that I can actually hit my enemy and don't die if I get hit by a single bullet. So, Brink, a 1.5, should probably get a 0, but I'm going to be nice and give it a 1.5 because it had good ideas behind it, but they were never carried out in the game, and it's horrendous. So those 2 sources, my footage is the best sources you can get to realize how bad this game is. The other, I urge you to go on Gamefly.com, go to the Xbox 360 version of Brink, and read the critic reviews, and you'll see a bunch of reviews that basically say the same thing as mine. The game's horrendous. They put it back in the mail the same day they got it, and it's an awful game. So I'm done with Brink. 2nd chapter, I quit, and do not waste your time with this game. Not a rental, not even a rental. Just do not even waste your time clicking the rent button on Gamefly, and certainly don't waste your money or your gas going out to a Blockbuster to rent it because the game's garbage. So that's it. Yes, this game is now firmly in the top spot for worst game of the year. I don't know how there could be another game that is going to beat it. because, like I said, I couldn't even get past the second chapter of this game. Maybe it'll be a game this year that I can't even get past the first 10 minutes. I don't know, but that's it. A 1.5 for Brink. Awful game. Do not waste your time or your hard-earned money, because you're going to be absolutely nothing but horrified by what you see. So I'm done, and have fun watching my footage because it's probably pretty funny.